Hey, what's up you guys? Thank you for watching another video of mine. You might notice I just post random videos, from videos about getting scammed, videos about a random park around London, or random videos in the Philippines. This one is no different. This video is gonna be about how I passed my NCLEX. I'm just gonna talk you through about what I did, my thought process on preparing for the NCLEX. This video is not to guide you on how you should prepare for yours, because you know yourself better and you know what works for you and what doesn't, and you know yourself the best. But hopefully you get something out of this, and that's the goal of the video. So before I even start talking about my preparation, I'm gonna give you a brief profile about how I was as a student, because it matters on how you should prepare for your NCLEX. I studied in the Philippines in a school named Doña Trinidad Romualdez Medical Foundation in the province called Leyte in the Philippines. It's a well-respected school, and we produce quite a lot of nurses, and we have a very good board exam rating. For example, I graduated in 2012, and for my batch, I think we did 98% passing rate for our school, when the national board passing rate was at 33%, as I remember. So that's quite a significant passing percentage as compared to that of the national level. But the school was good, but I wasn't a good student. I'm one of those dudes who sits at the back of the school during lecture. I fall asleep during lectures. I didn't really listen much. I didn't take school seriously just because. I always played Dota with my classmates. I didn't study much. I wasn't one of those people who studies in advance or actually studies to pass or to be an achiever. I am the opposite of that. So that solidifies the fact that you can pass as well. The reason that I'm giving you my history is because how you learned back then matters on how you should prepare for the NCLEX. For example, I was a crammer. I do not study in advance, but rather I study days before the test. And I realized that that's how I learn best. For example, for my local board exam, I didn't really study much ahead of time. Sure, we were given like 6 months of preparation. We went to review centers, but I didn't really study on my own time. I only studied when I was doing the review at the review center, but on my downtime, my personal time when I'm home, I didn't really open books or read stuff. I was just playing Dota, basketball, or just messed around until couple of days before the actual board exam. That's when I went all in and studied, and so I realized that I'm a crammer, and that's how I learn best. Now, this is not to say that everyone should cram, because like I said, everyone learns differently, and that means you learn different as well, and no one knows how you learn best but yourself. So go back into your nursing days, into your university days, your college days, and look back. How did you learn best? Because there's no point in changing now when all your life you've always been learning that way, because that's not how it works. Play to your strengths and do not make new weaknesses. There's no point in doing that. Another thing is, why did I take the NCLEX? To me, NCLEX being the most difficult nursing test in the world, I saw it as a way to prove to myself that I'm a good enough nurse and I have enough knowledge to actually be able to pass a test that's considered the most difficult one in terms of being a nurse. And I'm embarrassed to say this, but I feel like it's a bragging right to be able to pass this test. I don't talk about it at work. I'm very quiet and shy, but I keep it inside me every time I feel down, every time I feel low, every time I feel like I could have done better, or every time I question myself that I should have known that I shouldn't have to ask that to my senior nurses. I feel like I should know these things, and every time I doubt myself, it's a good place to go back and remind yourself, yeah, I passed the NCLEX, so I'm good enough. It's just that I just don't know everything. So yeah. Now let's talk about NCLEX. NCLEX is objectively ranked number 1 as the most difficult nursing test that someone could take. That's why it's so difficult to pass it. And I feel like it's peak nursing. Like when you pass that, I feel like you can pass any test. And I'm saying that objectively because I have a couple of licenses, and the most difficult one to get is that of America. Maybe that's a reason why nurses in America get paid better than where I work at the moment, or in the Philippines, or elsewhere in the world. Now, if I am to compare the test that I had to take in the UK to become a registered nurse here, is nothing compared to the test I took in the Philippines. Not even when you compare it to the quizzes that my clinical instructors gave us in the Philippines. But that doesn't mean that nursing in the UK is not at par with other countries. It's just how they deliver their exams. So what I did for my NCLEX here is I booked the test because you will never know when you're ready. You saying in your mind that I'm gonna book the test when I feel like I'm ready, it's never gonna happen. You have to book in advance and then get ready for it. That's always how it works. Okay? I booked an annual leave of 2 weeks, and then I went all in for that. Then I had a break of 2 days, then I took the NCLEX and passed it. How did I study? Preparing for NCLEX is different from preparing to be an actual nurse in the US. Those are two different things. Preparing for NCLEX is just preparing to answer sets of questions like your life depends on it, but it doesn't mean that you are preparing to practice as a nurse in the US. Bearing that in mind, what I did was just answer question banks. I must have answered probably around 500 questions while preparing for the NCLEX. And because preparing for the NCLEX, you always have 25% of getting the answer right each time, unless it's select all that applies. The thing is, you have to know what the NCLEX is about. It's about questions and answering them. You are gonna do better preparing on how to take the test rather than knowing all the answers. Because you can know 1,000 of things about nursing, but you're not sure what's gonna pop up on the actual test. That's why it's more important to prepare on what's gonna happen on the test, which is just answering questions rather than knowing everything. I spent the entire 2 weeks just answering questions after question, after question, after question, after question for 2 straight weeks. I had 2 days rest. I never opened another book. I never answered another question. I just rested and relaxed and played Dota, got drunk, played basketball, played Dota again, then took the test. I just gave it all up and waited for the result. And I was so ready that if I failed the test, I was so ready to just book again because it's not the end of the world. Funny thing is, I passed on first attempt, which is really cool because I know people who had to take it, and that's not to take it away from them because it's not an easy test. So basically what I'm trying to say is that prepare to your strengths. Don't be reading books if you're not really a reader, if you didn't learn that way before. So just prepare to answer questions. So if you're gonna ask me, I used an app called UWorld, and it's not free. You have to pay for it like anything else in the world. And that's what I that's what I used. And don't worry about knowing everything. Just worry about how to answer questions, how to develop your approach, know how to rule out answers in a time efficient way, and you're gonna be fine. And again, do not think it's the end of the world if you do fail, because you're not gonna be the first one to fail it. You're not gonna be the first one to retake the test. Just don't give up. If you want this, just do it again. And yeah, I think that's my advice. Thank you.